Hello and welcome to the Cancer Goddess. My name is Vera and I'm a 4-time cancer survivor. In this episode, you'll be hearing interviews and voices from a weekend that I spent at Kripalu, which is the largest yoga retreat center in the United States. I have been attending that for over 25 years and it's been a magical experience. And now I have lots of friends there and I love to pick their brain and I love to learn from them. So that's what's going to be happening in this episode. Please encourage you to subscribe or becoming a paid subscriber. We will get extra benefits. Lots of love and enjoy.
Swear nonstop. It's a lifestyle. It's a way I was raised. And so it's hard to get that out of my vernacular. But you will never hear me.
Here is my friend Faris, and we're here at the, where are we? What are we doing?
Kripalu Yoga Retreat, Day 2.
With Sean Korn. And he's originally from Palestine. And I'm Jewish, so we're having a conversation, an adult conversation. Your hair looks great. I'm not jealous of your hair or anything. I'm like, don't miss it at all, having amazing hair. Hello.
Hi, I'm so happy to see you.
I know. I'm happy to see you. Welcome to the Cancer Goddess. I'm here with Sean Korn. And I officially met Sean Korn at the Berkshire Yoga Festival where I interviewed her. And I've been following her for years because, again, she had my hair. And, you know, I've been going through cancer treatment and I lost all my hair. So I haven't had that curly amazingness back yet. But I followed her, started 20 years ago on my yoga journey, and then I got officially to meet you, and it was a very emotional interview. So I want to make this one less emotional because that was intense for me, and I came to Kripalu for you. I took a Greyhound and an Uber to get here. My husband needed a car, so I've traversed mountains for you because you're amazing, and I just want to appreciate and just say I just love you so much. So thank you for holding space for us and for just being who you are. So if you can introduce yourself to people who may not know who Sean Korn is.
I'm Sean Korn, and I live in Los Angeles, but I'm from New Jersey, not too far from where we are right now. We're at Kripalu in Massachusetts, and I have been teaching yoga since around 1994 is when I started. And I started practicing yoga back in the mid 80s. And so I've been deeply committed to this practice for many, many years. And I'm so grateful for it because of the way it not only has healed my life, but the impact that it has on so many people around the world at this point. I learned how to practice yoga. I learned yoga because I worked in a cafe in New York City called Life Cafe, and Life was owned by David Life and Sharon Gannon. Well, Sharon was a waitress there, but they went on to open Jivamukti Yoga, and the delivery boy was a man named Eddie Stern, who went on to open the Ashtanga Institute of New York. And so there was a lot of yoga and conversations around health and wellness happening during that time, and it certainly piqued my interest. And it was a turning point because living in the East Village at that time, I was surrounded by and I had access to a lot of drugs and alcohol. And it seemed like a lot of people who were at the cafe either oriented towards drugs and alcohol or oriented towards yoga. And I was really blessed enough to have been influenced by these amazing people.
And your father, right? I just learned your father was a yogi.
My father became a yoga teacher after I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
My father was a yoga teacher, and but that was not something that I wasn't raised with.
Right,
that.
I understand.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
So it's interesting to look at your trajectory because when you Google, you're very present on social media, not yourself, but necessarily, over the years you've been on Yoga Journal, and you see yourself in these crazy poses, and you're like, wow, and I'm assuming at some point you went from the crazy poses to like the more spiritual focus, while still keeping crazy poses here. But tell me about that transition, because that's what people think of when they think of yoga, just crazy poses. And if they can't do those poses, then they can't do yoga. But I wanted you to talk about your transition into the depth of yoga and the real meat of it, right? Or if it's vegan,
the tofu of it.
The tofu of it.
When I first started practicing, my practice was very physical. It was Chaturanga's upward facing dog, and whatever you wanted to throw at me, I was naturally strong and flexible, and I had a lot of confidence on the mat. I enjoyed going deep on a physical level. I didn't have a relationship with spirit at that time.
And you looked the part. I mean, that's why they loved you, because she's beautiful. I mean, you're still stunning, but I'm saying when you're, when you were 20s and with the hair and these crazy poses, I can't even do that. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
I didn't start getting any kind of recognition in yoga until I was in my late 20s. I had already been doing yoga for a while prior to that. At that time, when I started doing yoga, there was no celebrity yoga culture. It didn't exist. And so you didn't practice yoga at that time thinking that anyone other than the people who were in the room with you were actually looking at your poses or even cared. So for all those years, my practice was very, very physical. And it was in my 20s when I had a very dramatic emotional experience on the mat that took me by surprise. I had seen that happen to other people. I never quite understood it. It had never happened to me, and nor did I long for it. I just figured something was wrong with the person, meaning that they were upset about something. I didn't know that there was a direct correlation to the physical poses and their emotional well-being. And so I would see other people having these experiences, but it just seemed like it was personal to them, not a phenomenon that happens when you practice after a while. And that's what happened to me. I had this very emotional experience and started to hear the way the teachers were speaking in a very different way. I'm sure they were saying the exact same thing every single class.
But you weren't open to it.
I wasn't available to it. It doesn't mean that the years prior were somehow insignificant.
Right. It led you to that point.
It took that many years of doing these poses, of pushing my body, of stretching to my capacity to chip away at the armor that had developed around my body as a form of control and self-protection. And during those years, I learned how to, without being aware of it, how to titrate my nervous system and how to be ready. So when that emotional response happened, I didn't lose my mind. I didn't get, it wasn't traumatic. It was surprising, a little scary, but it was also a relief. And I felt lighter, better, more available. I heard the words differently. They landed in my body for the first time. They brought ease and peace and curiosity. And that began my trajectory in wanting to understand more about the mind-body connection, to understand more about some of these deeper philosophical principles, about what yoga means beyond the body, and to embrace the philosophy of yoga more as a lifestyle. And in time, it moved me into a deeper relationship, a spiritual relationship, a deeper connection to the planet, to other people, to God. But it kind of stepped itself. That wasn't my experience the first time I stepped on the mat. First time I stepped on the mat, I had been doing drugs and alcohol. I probably was partying the night before I showed up. I got sick, literally threw up when my first class was over, just because of the
detox,
my body detoxing, and it was brutal. But I went back to the mat,
and that's the journey. And so yesterday at dinner, we were talking, I was introducing you to the work of Dr. Ellen Langer at Harvard University, and I'm in the mindfulness lab with her. She's the first tenured professor of psychology in the department of Harvard, at Harvard. And she's kind of like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like paved a lot of ways, and has been studying mindfulness for 45 years and is dubbed the mother of mindfulness, essentially. And that's a very Western conception. It's a very research-based conception. And, you teach also mind-body unity and mindfulness from more of a Jon Kabat-Zinn sort of perspective. So let's talk about your definition of mindfulness. And because I'm also working with now teenagers around mindfulness, around technology, because of the epidemic of, suicide and depression among youth. And so what is mindfulness? How can we take it off the mat and on the mat? Because a lot of teenagers aren't doing yoga. But talk to me about mind-body unity, mindfulness.
Well, I'm not a mindfulness practitioner the way that you are. I'm not studied in that capacity, and I don't think I can responsibly define it in the way in which you practice it. My experience of mindfulness is what shows up on the yoga mat. It's intention, body, mind, and spirit. It's finding balance and unity in all that you do, say, and create. It's slowing down the mind in such a capacity so that you could be more responsive and less reactive. For me, very often mindfulness comes in the form of meditation. The way in which the work is most effective for me is more embodied. I have a tendency towards dissociation or reactivity. If I don't move my body, if I don't release the tension, then a lot of my perceptions stay from the neck up. And I stay more intellectual, more critical, more judgmental. Whereas if I embody, if I move and breathe, and I can release the tension, I get out of my head and I drop into my heart. And that allows me to find that stillness that mindfulness supports. And so although I don't adhere to some of the more traditional principles of mindfulness, I certainly support it as both a practice and as a concept. But my pathway to mindfulness happens on the yoga mat through movement, through breath, through prayer, through intention, and that brings me to that space of equanimity and center.
And you talked a lot about how we hold this trauma and we hold these issues in our tissues. So why don't you tell us a little bit more of that? Because people are like, oh, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. Right? That's a thing. And really, they are. It's just their own limiting beliefs. So let's talk about that resistance to wanting to go deeper, because it's like, oh, this hurts, I can't do it. But that's the journey, right? So let's talk about that.
I think when people, they see yoga and they see what they perceive as the end result, bendy bodies doing things that seem inaccessible.
Right.
And I can understand that when you have a body that might have tight hamstrings, you might be dealing with, a bum knee, tight shoulders, that doesn't feel accessible to you. And it can feel frustrating and embarrassing to even want to try. And that's really because here in the West, we put so much emphasis on these postures and on the way that it looks. And that alienates so many people from being willing to want to get on the mat, which I completely understand based on that perspective. But what's important to note is the way that I teach is that it's a mind-body connection, and it's recognizing that our emotions are often internalized, and these emotions, including rage, fear, shame, guilt, unresolved grief, and when internalized, it has no place to go but live in our tissues, and it manifests as the stress that we feel, the tension that we experience. Yoga helps us to release the tension, and then therefore helps us to excavate some of the emotions that might be living in the body, emotions that are keeping us shut down, resistant, unavailable, angry, lonely,
resentful,
yeah. And so yoga meets you where you're at. All you're trying to do is organize your bones so that you can stretch your muscles and target the areas in your body where there's congestion muscularly. When you organize your skeleton appropriately, your body will open slowly in time. But that's really not the goal. It's being present to the sensation as you feel it in your body, bringing breath to that sensation, and then observing what comes up for you. And so everyone has a different edge, and that edge looks different for every body based on whatever's going on in their anatomy. Like I had said, like I was born flexible. It was in my, that's DNA, just my body.
Yeah.
that meant I had to go deeper into these shapes to feel the same sensation that someone who was tighter, perhaps in their hips, felt. But when the yoga begins is when we both hit our edge. It just looks different. And to me, the advanced practitioner or the mature practitioner is the one that can stay at their edge with equanimity, can breathe and be present.
So I am fortunate to have become a baby in yoga again after 4 cancers, when I was basically in a wheelchair, then a walker, and then a cane. So I had to learn how to do yoga again, and that was humbling for a yoga teacher.
Yeah, I bet.
Who had studied yoga for years. And so I had to learn how to balance again and do all these things. And that tightness, that being in a hospital bed for months, and that tightness that developed was so humbling, and I'm still experiencing it now. Of course, I'm in a much better place, thank God, but meeting that tightness and having that, like, I need to get out of this place, I need to, like, how do you deal with that discomfort? And I know the trauma's there and all this stuff, and obviously being in a hospital for months, and just my body atrophying immensely. But how do you get back to that love of that feeling? Because it's such a hard feeling, the feeling, that feeling of your body just saying, like, I can't go anymore, I can't go any further. And then how do you sit with that? Because you
have to just listen to your body, have an enormous amount of patience and love, and try not to push through pain. Discomfort is okay, but when you get to that pain point, it's very important to honor your body and be kind, very, very kind. Your body went through so much, and it continues to transform. And so it needs to purify itself, ground itself, feel safe again. And that can take, who knows, it's different for each individual. And the most important thing is not to have an expectation of what it should be, rather just be present to what is and find gratitude for this body, living, breathing, alive, the blood that's flowing, the knees that work, all the different parts of your body that are functioning exactly as you want them to be.
Like even doing tree pose, I was like a tree pose person. Like I would just do tree pose everywhere, and I couldn't after brain cancer. It totally messed up my equilibrium, and it's taken me now. I can do tree pose, but it wasn't the tree pose of the past, and it wasn't the dancer's pose of the past. So I can default beat myself up and just feel like, who am I anymore? So it is humbling, and that's a first timer. A first timer tree pose is very challenging. It's very difficult. So it's been very humbling to just be a first timer and say, like, okay, I'm just gonna learn how to do this again. Like a newcomer that I didn't study it for 15 years before.
Well, that's the beauty of yoga, though, is it teaches us not to be attached to any of it, because everything changes. That's just the nature of life, the nature of nature. It goes in these cycles, and if we get attached to what we like, then we suffer when it goes away. In the same way, if we get attached to what we don't like, you have to just be present to what is and trust that everything changes. And again, honor the fact that your body can still balance.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. It's getting there.
Yeah.
And then I also want to talk about media addiction. I mean, there's a lot of issues in the world, and we can sit here for hours talking about them, but I really just want to talk about media addiction and your perspective, and how to mitigate this world right now that we're in, especially with the young people who are.
You're talking about social media specifically?
Social media, or just like the dopamine hit from like,
because that's what
going
it is.
through TikTok or whatever, and this constant like slot machine of dopamine hit.
I think it's going to be a while before we are aware of the long-term effects of social media and the impact that it's literally having on the brain, and why.
Have you seen that in your practices? Because you've been teaching for so long.
In my practice?
Have you seen the effect? How do you see that?
Instant gratification. Everything is instant gratification. Not everything, but I see a lot of folks there's anxiety if they don't get to their phone. If they don't have their phone nearby, they lay it next to them on their mats, face up, so that they can just kind of glance over at it.
Wow.
So yeah, I see.
You've seen that over the years now develop.
Yeah.
And has affected their practice.
I mean, I don't know about it personally. It affects the room, the energy in the room. I don't know about their individual practice.
You don't say put it away like I tell my high school kids.
Yeah, I might say put it away.
Yeah.
It just depends on the circumstance.
Right.
There are sometimes, see, that's the thing. Sometimes there's a parent in the room or a doctor in the room. They need to have their phone nearby because there's other things that are happening.
Right.
This might be the only hour that they have, and they may only get 45 minutes of that hour before they're interrupted and have to deal with life. I don't want to impose onto them something and take away that 45 minutes that they have. So if they're texting in class, I have a problem with that.
I mean, of course.
And certainly talking on the phone. But if they're just glancing down at it, I try to be a little bit more understanding that we all have lives, and I'm just glad they're in the room.
Yeah.
But social media in general, there's good to it and there's negatives. On the good part is it connects the world. Yeah. And it helps to foster an environment where people have learned about other cultures. They learn about difference and developed more curiosity about other things that are happening rather than in their own insular environment. Yeah. On the negative is there's a lot of compare and despair. Yes. And people are being impacted in terms of body image and FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah. And doing challenges that can be dangerous. Yeah. And there's all sorts of issues that continually impact the wellness of so many, especially young people.
I know.
And so, yes,
how does yoga help mitigate the effects of technology addiction?
Well, it helps to regulate the endocrine system, so the hormonal system, which is deeply impacted by social media because of, as you said, the dopamine hit that we get through scrolling.
Serotonin, oxytocin.
Yep. And so yoga helps to
balance out,
regulate that a little bit more. But it again, it's going to be a while before we really understand the long-term effects. Yeah. We're going to have to wrap this up.
Of course. Well, I just want to say I'm so grateful for you, and I'm giving you this is a hat from my nonprofit, and we just became incorporated 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
From the IRS, and I've been working on this really hard. And I put BCG because I don't necessarily, I don't want, breast cancer. Yeah. It's a lot. People might be like, what the heck? But this is just BCG, but you know what it is.
Yes.
And
thank you very much.
I want to see it on you. Oh, that looks so cute. She looks so cute in it.
Thank you.
I love it.
And congratulations. That's a big deal. And I love that you have turned something that has been such a challenge in your own life into something that's helpful and useful and meaningful and empowering to so many other people out there who, in the face of breast cancer or any kind of an illness, it can be incredibly overwhelming, lonely, isolating, and you create a platform and an environment so that people can feel heard, seen, valued, and also get some good information.
Thank you.
So it's very important.
That means so much coming from you. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to the Breast Cancer Goddess or the Cancer Goddess. And thank you, Sean Korn, for being who you are and spreading your light. Thank you. Can one person take a picture of just Sean and I with is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
A young girl when I met you. You were young too.
I was young too.
You're still young, baby cakes. You both are still young.
I said to you yesterday, you still got that little baby face.
Doesn't she? She's so beautiful. Look at this little face. She's so beautiful.
You really have not.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been such an inspiration.
She is. She is.
You've informed my teaching.
I love you so
my
much.
people love you. I love you too.
And I love you in the room, and I love every time you open your mouth and share. You bring such strength and perspective into the space.
Thank you.
And I just welcome it.
Thank you so much.
Sean, before you leave, one person had asked me, who are your influences?
Oh my God. In what regard? Like my yoga teachers?
Yeah.
Mati Israti. Yeah. Mati Israti was the very first really the teacher took me under their wing. Eddie Modestini. Yeah, and these are my heart-centered teachers: Lisa Walford, Eric Schiffman, Brian Kest. Sharat, Iyengar. They're just different reasons for different teachers came into my life. Sri Aurobindo and the mother. On a spiritual level, I was deeply connected, especially to the mother. Mona Miller, the love of my life. You know, probably my greatest teacher, who unfortunately passed. And those are some of my teachers.
Thank
and
you.
I imagine more and more will keep coming. My mother, my partner,
and your dad.
my daddy.
And your dad.
Yeah.
My daddy, yeah.
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 Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye, honey.
Bye. Have a great night.
Thank you. I'll see you
Yeah.
later. Good night.
So I'm here with my beautiful friend Sylvia. Sylvia, do you feel okay? Wait.
Sylvie's fine.
And so, how long have you been a yoga teacher?
27 years now.
Oh my gosh, 27
27 years.
And how did you become who you are? Like, after, how did you end up becoming a yoga teacher?
I had a yoga teacher who brought me here to Kripalu, late 80s, when Amrit was here. And she kept saying, you need to teach, you need to teach. I didn't want to teach. I didn't really want to teach people. Just wanted to be a student. She's like, you need to teach, you need to teach. And her name was Margot Jenny. Her picture was hanging up here. And Margot went to Egypt, got a bug, came back, and got very sick. And I started taking yoga teacher training. She was able to take one of my classes before she died. And I just kept on the path because Margot said, you need to teach. And finally I relented.
And tell me what it's like for your experience, because we just talked about being of color in this white yoga world, and how has that been for you?
It's been challenging. I have a lot of classes where sometimes I'm the only one and I'm teaching the class. And sometimes I'm taking the class and I'm still the only one. But I keep pushing through. When I teach, I keep sending my messages of who we are as a collective and how we need to follow the sutras. And I just keep talking and keep practicing on and off the mat.
You're a beautiful person.
Thank you.
And we look so cute together. And you're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
I don't know her age. She said she's older than me.
I'm 74.
Girl, excuse me. And
God is good.
God is good.
All the
Dang,
time.
you look good.
All the time.
Dang,
God
you
is
look
good.
good. It's all the yoga you do.
Thank you.
And how's your nutrition? What do you eat?
Fish.
Are you pescatarian?
I am. I'm a
Okay.
pescatarian. Drink a little wine.
Okay, nothing wrong with mine.
Yeah.
All right, well,
about
thank
it.
you, baby, for your
Thank
magic.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, Vera.
Yeah, I'm here with Laura, and she's like, I follow you. And I was like, how do I follow you? And tell them the story.
Well, we were BNIers.
Yes.
We're both yoga teachers.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but we've been friends for a long time, and finally we get to meet in person.
But she had asked me to send her an oil
Oh, that's of course right. 6 years ago, I was in the hospital.
when she was in the hospital. So it's
Yes.
so cool running
Yeah.
into old friends
Yeah.
and loving your glasses. And
I definitely needed something different than the hospital, so I reached out to you.
that's great. And I'm like, did it work? And I'm like, she's like, I
6
don't
years
know.
ago. But I still use it lovingly.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Oh my gosh, guess who I ran into? I wanted this meeting to be happen all weekend, and then I see her walking, and I just like yell fry. And if you don't follow her on social media, she has such profound, beautiful postings, and I love it so much. And this weekend she ran a healing retreat with no sound, no speaking, a silent meditation retreat. One of your people was in my room, and she wouldn't talk to us. So this is just Fry, and she's just dope, and I think she's amazing. You don't have to say anything. I just talk for you, right?
I love it.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say?
No, thank you, dear one.
So I'm here with Tommy Rosen, and he invited me this morning to one of his meetings, and I'm so grateful. Tell me what you do. You see, this is why we need Mike. Tell me what you do and the power of how many people you're helping, which you're helping an immense amount of people right now.
So we bring together the power of yoga and breath work and meditation.
And what is the organization called?
I run a company called Recovery 2.0, and it's about bringing together yoga with recovery. So the life path of yoga, the life path of recovery, the 12 steps, psychology, spirituality, all of this together is pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you.
And
that's what we do.
And how did you get involved in this? And tell me about your journey.
Well, I was a severe drug addict and alcoholic as a younger man, a much younger man, and I had the great good fortune of finding first sobriety, and then ultimately a bunch of quite wise counselors and teachers who were able to help me be free, truly free from addiction. And so I pass on all those teachings to anybody who will listen.
So I want to tell you how God works. So I was in the bathroom, and his co-teacher or assistant walks in. You know, she had the shaved head, and she kind of looked like a Buddhist monk or whatever. But then also she kind of maybe is going through cancer. So I'm not afraid of asking women if they're going through cancer. And I said, excuse me, I don't want to be rude. Is this for fashion? Or is this for cancer? And she said, it's for cancer.
Yes.
And she said, it's for cancer.
Yes.
And then that was it. We started talking. We both studied in India.
Yes.
I mean, not studied. We went to an Ayurvedic hospital in India. And then I told her that I've been in recovery for 21 years. And she's like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, you've got to meet you. And so that was, I think, a God thing, because I think what you're doing is just like so important.
Thank you, honey.
And I want to somehow go on your retreat at some point too.
Come, come be with us.
And
well, Iris, who you met,
yeah,
she was lit up from having met you, and she also saw it as a God shot. And,
yeah,
we love those moments when the
synchronicities line up. In the bathroom on the first day.
God will show up anywhere.
What was that all about?
No shame.
Iris, come here for a second.
Here she is.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Iris.
Come on camera.
We were just talking about you and telling them all your secrets. No, I'm just kidding. We just talked about how we met in the bathroom and how it was a God thing. There's your port, baby. Oh my gosh, there's your port. Okay. And so how did you get involved in this whole community?
In Recovery 2.0?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your story, Iris?
Well, it started here at Kripalu.
Wow.
Yeah. Came for the yoga meditation and recovery retreat in maybe 2017? No, 2013?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, maybe 2013. And met Tommy. I had been sober for maybe 9 years or 8 years at that point, and really resonated with the frequency of addiction, transferring addictions.
The whack-a-mole.
Yes.
Addiction here, addiction there, addiction there. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've been coming back ever since, and eventually started working with Tommy at the first recovery coach training in 2019. It's been part of the team since.
It's been amazing.
Traveling around.
She's incredible, as you can see, the radiance. Last time we were at Kripalu in April, we were all doing a hard practice, and there were a few complainers in the background, in the back of the room. And I grabbed Iris and I said, do you mind if I share about your situation with everybody? Because she was doing the practice with perfection. And she came up on stage. And everybody who had been complaining shut right up in that moment, because Iris was lighting it up. And she'd just gotten out of chemotherapy and the whole thing. And so you can see, look how radiant she is. So.
And I want to do a retreat with Iris around cancer and recovery, and or just cancer in general. So I'm really excited.
Those two things.
I want to do that in Woodstock, where I have a little property here, and so I'm really excited to work with you. And
look forward to having that conversation.
Yeah. And so anyway, these are amazing people. Please follow them. And follow recovery. Okay, the last thing I'm going to ask, someone struggling with addiction, what is the first step?
Community. Come out of isolation.
That's also the second step and the third step.
Yeah, that's big. Everything else comes later. You gotta be around people that are sober and that are living a life that can bring you forward into that.
Yeah, and
That's
don't
it.
be afraid. 12 steps is for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And it's online, it's in person, and you can get a sponsor.
Yeah.
NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. You have GA, Gamblers Anonymous.
Yep.
There's
Recovery 2.0.
It's Recovery 2.0.
You don't have to even call yourself an addict or alcoholic. You can just say, I'm a person on a path of discovery, which we all are, and that's it.
And Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous. That's an amazing program.
Tommy Rosen signing out from here at Kripalu. Thank you, Vera.
Iris, welcome. So grateful to be here.
Thanks, guys, for
Thank
being in my
you.
story. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it started here at Kripalu.
Wow.
Yeah, came for the yoga, meditation, and recovery retreat in maybe 2017. No, 2013.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, maybe 2013. And met Tommy. I had been sober for maybe 9 years or 8 years at that point, and really resonated with the frequency of addiction, transferring addictions.
The whack-a-mole. The whack-a-mole.
Yes.
Addiction here, addiction there, addiction there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I've been coming back ever since, and eventually started working with Tommy at the first recovery coach training in 2019. It's been part of the team since.
It's been amazing.
Traveling around.
She's incredible, as you can see, the radiance. Last time we were at Kripalu in April, we were all doing a hard practice, and there were a few complainers in the background, in the back of the room. And I grabbed Iris and I said, do you mind if I share about your situation with everybody? Because she was doing the practice with perfection. And she came up on stage. And everybody who had been complaining shut right up in that moment because Iris was lighting it up. And she'd just gotten out of chemotherapy and the whole thing. And so you can see, look how radiant she is. So.
And I want to do a retreat with Iris around cancer and recovery, and or just cancer in general. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
Those two things.
I want to do that in Woodstock, where I have a little property here, and so I'm really excited to work with you. And
Look forward to having that conversation.
Yeah. And so anyway, these are amazing people. Please
you.
follow them and follow recovery. Okay, the last thing I'm going to ask: someone struggling with addiction, what is the first step?
Community. Come out of isolation.
That's also the second step and the third step.
Yeah, that's big. Everything else comes later. You gotta be around people that are sober and that are living a life that can bring you forward into that.
Yeah, and
That's
don't be afraid. 12 steps is for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And it's online, it's in person, and you can get a sponsor.
Yeah.
NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. You have GA, Gamblers Anonymous.
Yep.
There's
Recovery 2.0.
It's Recovery 2.0.
You don't have to even call yourself an addict or alcoholic. You can just say, I'm a person on a path of discovery, which we all are, and that's it.
And Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous. That's an amazing program.
Tommy Rosen signing out from here at Kripalu. Thank you, Vera.
Iris, welcome. So grateful to be here.
Thanks, guys, for
Thank
being in my
you.
story. Thank you. Thank you. With Iris, welcome. And how we met was incredible. It was the first day at Kripalu, and I was in the bathroom doing bathroom things. And she walks in, and I was like, she's cool. She's got the mala, she got the hair. And I was like, I don't know, but something like God maybe was like, ask her if she has cancer. I mean, it's not something people can do unless you had cancer. You can't just be like, do you have cancer? But I went up to her and I was like, well, she came to wash her hands. And I was like, excuse me, I hope this isn't rude. And I said, are you doing this for fashion because it looks good on you? Or do you have cancer? And what did you say?
I don't remember.
She said she had cancer. You said you had cancer.
I did.
And that she just had gotten back from India, where she was studying at an Ayurvedic hospital, much like myself.
Yeah.
And then she was here on a program for Recovery 2.0 in the 12 steps. And I was like, holy amazingness, I feel like this is God speaking to me right now, because these are all the things that I'm doing as well. And so we connected, and then she invited me to a meeting, a 12-step meeting for their group. And I went to their meeting, and then I got the book from the founder of Recovery 2.0, Tommy Rosen, and I perused the book, and I just, it's beautiful. It's definitely aligned to what I've been doing for 20 years. And I joined a recovery program when I was 24, and that's sort of when I started my yoga journey too. And that's what he talks about in the, like, how to eat well, and how did and mindset. And so how did the book affect you?
Yeah, same thing. Came into recovery at 23, 24, a couple months before my 24th birthday. Same with Tommy. He came into recovery when he was around 24. And I had been in recovery for a little while, but still suffering from what I didn't know at the time was, but what he put a term to it. He spoke about suffering from the frequency of addiction and this transfer of addictions that we continue to see with people in recovery. Someone will be, in recovery for a long time, and they're not drinking, and that's fantastic. And still binging on sugar, or horrible relationships, or continued financial difficulty.
It's like when I've gone to AA meetings around the world when I've traveled, because they don't always have the kind of meetings I go to for my food recovery program for food addiction. And you'll see afterwards, they're like smoking cigarettes and eating donuts. And I'm like, that's an addiction.
And if it's good enough and they're happy, that's great. And I found that I was in recovery and still suffering, really, just still suffering in relationships, just continuing to make bad choices in relationships. So I met Tommy.
That's why it's called Recovery 2.0.
Exactly.
1.0.
So the foundation of the 12 steps was absolutely incredible. I continue to go back to the 12 steps. I continue to go to AA meetings.
You guys have meetings. You said 44 meetings online or something.
Online meetings a week. Yeah.
And this is for anybody who struggles with any kind of addiction. And then
so that's what's nice. What I continue to say, what I've always said is, there just aren't enough days in the week for me to attend every kind of meeting that I qualify for a seat in. What's nice about Recovery 2.0 is that all addictions are brought underneath one roof. So I don't have to, and also yoga is brought into that one roof. So for the first 10 years of my recovery, yoga and 12 steps lived in separate houses. And here they come under one roof, and we get to see the crossover over crossover. I mean, just again and again and again, yoga and recovery are aligned. They are the same thing. Yoga is recovery, and recovery is yoga.
This woman's amazing. I feel like the universe brought her to me, and you know what? We're going to be doing a retreat together in Woodstock on Martin Luther King weekend in January. So please save the date if you're curious about healing on a deep, deep level and the 12 steps. And we are also both cancer survivors, and we're going to be fasting. And that is the secret to my success as a cancer survivor, fasting. So that's going to be in Woodstock the weekend of Martin Luther King weekend.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Hope you'll join us.
Yes.
Can't wait to meet you there.
Yes. And it'll be fairly cheap because we're not eating.
Yeah.
We're juicing. All right.
Great.
Thank you. So I'm here with my very good friend, Antoinette, and we've known each other now for a few years. I've been coming to Kripalu, but you've been here for a bazillion years, and I've been coming for a bazillion years. So I'm sure we ran into each other before. And you have the softest skin, I swear to God. It's so soft. Okay, and she teaches literally everything at Kripalu. Hiking, canoeing, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, sound healing, guided meditation, restore yoga. Anything else?
Yoga dance is why.
Oh, right. Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Yeah, that was the biggest one. But today we're doing guided meditation, right? And so let's talk about guided meditation. What is the power of goddess meditation?
I like that. Goddess meditation. Goddess.
No, got it. What is the power of guided meditation? Because I'm a big fan of guided meditation. I think it was a real part of also my healing process, doing lots of guided meditations. And you don't mind them touching your knee, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell us.
All right. Well, guided meditation is, as it says, guided. And sometimes I find it difficult, and people share with me the difficulty of guiding themselves, of just doing it on their own. Sometimes people think that, you close your eyes, you sit in cross-legged position, and all those thoughts go away. Yet they don't, because the mind has a mind of its own, as I like to say. So when we are in a guided meditation experience, there's something that's kind of like capturing your attention to bring you back to now, which is not easy to be, especially in this modern day age that we're all living in. So guided meditation could be instruments capturing your attention. It could be a track that you enjoy. I'm about to teach a practice of guided meditation, and I'll use one of my favorite teachers' track. His name is Ram Dass. Anyone's familiar with Ram Dass? And we're going to also do a walking guided meditation, chanting Om. And then we're going to do another seated chant, because sometimes it's helpful to hear the sound of your voice, because then you know you're present. So that can be a guiding light to become more present, is hearing the sound of your voice. And of course, chanting is so sacred, and our voice is an expression of our spirit, and it helps us to breathe. And it kind of gets real simple when we remember that breath is life. And here's my favorite acronym for the word life: LIFE, long inhale, full exhale.
I love that so much.
And that brings us back to what's true in the moment, which is, am I breathing? Am I alive? And while we're here, very much alive, it's really important to remember that breath is the key to the kingdom. The thoughts come and go, but the breath is always with us. And sometimes it's dormant, sometimes it's labored, or we're even in holding patterns of the breath, and that's perfectly fine. And then we remember, and it wakes us up back to breathing again. So it's really that simple.
And how do you help people who just cannot, their brain is completely like a monkey mind, and they just have no exposure to meditation or guided meditation or mindfulness? Like you bring in, you are teaching hundreds and hundreds of people of a month, and guiding them, and you've taught thousands of people who have gone through this Kripalu experience. So how do you work with the novice, the people who are just coming here and just for the first time sitting with themselves?
So what I do is I invite them here to these emotional centers, because when we touch the body, we feel the body. We're here in the body. And then when we touch the body and we notice that the breath is flowing through, this is where we begin. It always begins with the breath. And I think the body, so instead of being kind of externally relatable, bring your attention internal and connect to the physical, and then notice the physiology. When we inhale, the belly swells, the chest lifts. And then when we exhale, everything sort of drops down and in. And that one conscious wave of breath is where we begin. No matter if you're a seasoned practitioner or if you're a novice, and every morning is a chance to do it again. So we never have to give up or, think that it's...
People think, oh, I'm not good at it. Well, it's a muscle.
Yeah.
You can't think you're just going to go once to the gym and get a six pack. I mean, come on. Or like when I run my fast, you don't think you're going to, do a 7-day fast overnight. Like you have to train for the marathon. And training for the marathon means just showing up and sitting with yourself and observing your crazy ass head. And that's what it is, right? The breath is the leash of your crazy ass dog.
I love that.
Your breath is the leash of your crazy ass dog.
I love that so much. I think that should be on a t-shirt.
Your breath is the leash of your crazy ass dog. Yeah, it's true.
Because it is, it's like if we look at the mind like that, I think of it like a child, it's just kind of all over the place. How do we guide the child back? Well, we do it with compassion, first of all. We never want to beat ourselves up for things that we're thinking about, yet we can become the witness and notice that, and like you said, leash it back. And how we do that is with feeling physical body, feeling the breath, hearing the sound of the breath. Those types of things can really remind us where we are in space and time.
Okay, well, thank you. I know we're about to start class.
We're about
to have a guided meditation.
Yay!
I'm recording it, and we're going to put it here in the Substack. And I just love you, Antoinette.
I love you, Vera.
I know. I just,
Wow. You're so wonderful.
You are. Thank you for listening to The Cancer Goddess and my recent visit to Kripalu and interviewing all the friends that have influenced me along the way. Don't forget to subscribe, or even better, become a paid subscriber so you get different perks that support our organization. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.